Even Nicolas Cage can't save us from this nesting doll of criminals. But he does have some really cool Hawaiian shirts.
What do you say we cut the chit-chat? A-hole! I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire!
Interesting choice of words.
What is that? What is that? What is it? Oh, no, not the beak! Not the beak! Ah! Oh, my God. I'm a pixie pear! Okay, let's run.
We watched The Retirement Plan, and this is the unbearable fate of massive talent. I'm Brittany Green.
And I'm Liz Kurtzman.
And we watched one of the 3 brand new Nicolas Cage movies that have come out in the past, month.
Yeah, this is one that I saw a lot of trailers and stuff for it before it came out, and then once it came out,
I think it was out for 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, it did not make much of a splash.
No, and I think we understand why.
I think we know why. I think we know why. Yeah. This was some movie. This was certainly, it had all the parts of a movie.
It had all the parts of it. Had,
actors.
Lots of, cool, sort of, they're not in every movie, but when they're there, they enhance the movie kinds of actors.
It had, an interesting group of character actors.
For sure.
We were very excited when we saw the trailer, because it has Jackie Earle Haley, obviously Nicolas Cage, Ron Perlman, and Ernie Hudson in it.
Yeah.
Which is a great team. But I don't feel like any of them were used particularly well in this film. Though I will say, I did find out that Nicolas Cage and Ron Perlman became good friends during Season of the Witch, and supposedly they did this movie so that they could hang out together.
That's so cute.
Even though I think they're only in one scene together.
That enhances the movie for me a little bit.
Yes.
They're in at least 2 scenes together, I think.
Okay.
Because there's the scene
there's
where...
a weight scene. The free weight scene.
Yep.
And what's the other one?
I feel like they were probably both there, but they might not be together in the scene, at Ron Perlman's demise.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But they don't interact.
But they never appear in the frame together.
No.
So, anyway, this was a movie that we watched. I don't know. It had all the pieces of there were so many pieces that were pulled from other action movies. So this movie was basically the plot of Taken, but his daughter's a little bit older, so it's mostly about his granddaughter. And then after, when we finished watching the movie, we saw recommended movies, and there was a movie called The Baker with Ron Perlman, and we were like, oh, what's that? And we watched the trailer for that movie, and it's the same studio, and it's also the same movie as this one. Same movie.
So this studio seemingly just makes movies about badass grandpas saving their granddaughters.
Right, badass grandpas who had a secret life as some sort of assassin. Or some badass job that no one knew about, and then they have to pull those skills out to save a grandchild. And it's got some character actors in it, and we were laughing during the trailer because we kept seeing
the same actors.
Bit part actors were in this movie, and it was so funny. It looks maybe like a better version of this movie, though. Maybe, but it's hard to tell. It just seemed like, because for me...
That one looked like it was shot at night, and this one was shot during the day, so we're pretty sure they shot them difference. At the same time.
Yeah. Yin and yang.
That one has, the John Wick lighting.
Yes, it does.
Which makes it look cooler.
It does look cooler. I don't know. From the trailer, it seems like there's less characters, which would be an improvement over this film. Because this film
The characters were not actually character-y enough in this one.
There's just too many people in the movie.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is by the end, I couldn't stop laughing at the climax because it was just more people kept showing up.
And shooting the last people that just showed up?
Yes! Yeah. And it was like a scene, it was like an SNL sketch, at the end.
It really was.
And
I wanted
like, ooh, what you say
Yes!
to be playing.
That was the energy. Yeah. Anyway, back up to the top of the movie.
Yeah.
This movie has weird fucking title cards
For
everyone's
major character.
Not every major character, even most of them.
Most of them. There were two that were left out that. At least one of them, I think we agreed, could have used one if that's gonna be how they do it.
Yes.
But
yeah, because when I was looking up something about the movie, it said that his name was Christopher, and I was like, was it? I don't know. But they're hilarious. Like, it reminded me of something from like Lucky Number 11 or like Smoking Aces or something.
This movie really wanted to believe that it was a Guy Ritchie movie.
Yes.
I feel like.
And, like, it threw these, and it would be this crazy title card with, like, wild graphics, and it just has the person's name, not a description of who they are or anything.
Just their name.
It was so funny. Yeah, I mean, the movie opens, it's one of those movies that both over-explains and under-explains things.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like they were constantly explaining to me what was going on. I don't know how many times people were like, we're after the hard drive. But then I also...
It's not a disc. It's a hard drive.
Hard drive. But then I also often was going, who's that? Are they good? Why'd they do that? Like, I just was so confused most of the time. But yeah, it opens with the main one of the main characters, Ashley.
Yes, and her husband and his buddy, who are just in, like, doing crimes... And we don't ever find out what happened to her husband.
No, I mean...
Which is, I realize, again, skipping forward, but I guess he's dead.
Did we miss his execution scene?
No, we sat there the whole time and watched the whole movie. Neither of us got up to go to the bathroom.
I thought he would show up at the end or something.
No.
No. What the fuck?
My assumption is he's dead.
He must have died. He must have killed him.
But yeah.
When? Yeah, so, you know, they were double-crossed. You know, they were stealing something from at the beginning, and she's the getaway driver, and it goes badly. Dude dies.
What a terrible person to pick for your getaway driver.
Oh, she was so high-strung.
She was very high-strung the whole movie.
Didn't seem to know what was going on.
And, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not trying to be like... She just wasn't tough, you know? Like, I would have been much cooler under pressure in these situations. Because, like, I probably wouldn't. But she just feels like she felt like she got in the way a lot and didn't listen to people. Because then, like, you have... I realize I'm skipping ahead again. But then you have her, like, making, like, really dumb decisions.
Yes.
Also, like... It's probably fine. I can just get some ice. And you're like, your dad just said, like, don't leave the hotel room. They're probably out there. And then lo and behold, they were out there.
Just what a poorly written I mean, everyone's poorly written, but, like, the women characters in this movie are just so shallowly written. And she is this, like, whiny crybaby who makes terrible decisions. And then the only really kind of... And then you have another woman in the movie who is a hard ass, and then another one who's just, like, a criminal. And that's, like, an evil criminal. And those are the three female characters, really, other than the little girl.
Right.
Whose personality is little child.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my god, yeah. And also, and I think that's part of the problem with this film is that they didn't know what the tone was.
It was both comedy at times, but not comedy enough.
Yes.
And
because, like, Nicolas Cage and Ron Perlman, to some extent, and Ernie Hudson are doing a little bit, like, broader comedy, which is what it was advertised as, certainly. And
it was definitely advertised as an action comedy, and I was like, none of this is funny.
It wasn't funny and she's, like, so serious, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
she's just, like, freaking out
weeping
the whole time.
most of the movie. So, yeah, it was tough to watch. Her and yeah, so there
she was for all you twi heads out there,
not twi heads.
Twihards.
Is that what they're called?
I think they're
Twihard sounds
Twihard sounds better, but the actress that plays Nicolas Cage's daughter in this is Alice Cullen.
Yeah, she's got
longer hair.
I know that nose anywhere.
It's a very pointy nose.
A very pointy, like, little pixie nose is what she has. But yeah, she's just crying the whole movie. Yeah, and so,
Her character in Twilight is actually kind of the fun one.
She's one of the most interesting characters in the film, which isn't hard. They're not exactly weighed down by interesting characters in those movies.
The best character in that movie is Robert Pattinson.
The best character is Charlie Swan.
The best character is Robert Pattinson, not Edward Cullen, but Robert Pattinson himself trapped in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. So things go badly, and they need to hide, and they decide that this is a weird bit where the husband is like, you and the daughter, Ashley? No. Sarah. Everyone's name is very generic. Sarah need to go hide, and she's like, where are we gonna go? And he's like, you know where. And she's like, no, I can't go. And it's like, we know it's her dad because we've seen the trailer. But here's the weird thing.
I feel like I also have seen a movie before, and I feel like that just felt very, like, tropey.
It was very tropey, but then I thought, because she's like, I haven't talked to him in, like, 10 years. And for them
also
to, like...
seems like it's been longer than...
Yeah, because the little girl's 12.
Right. It's been at least
10 years. She
12.
she says over a decade.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, like, from the way they do that, it's like he's the only option, or, like... But why would she know that? Like, if he was like, there's another option, I wouldn't even think of my father if I hadn't spoken to him in over a decade and thought he was just, like, a normal, boring government worker.
Right.
Because later we find out she has no idea that her dad had this, like, secret job as an assassin for the government. And I was like, I thought that's why she sent her there. Because she doesn't like him, but she's like, he can protect her. No. She has no idea.
She, for some reason, has his address and knows that he has 2 names that he goes by.
Right.
Which I guess is just like, maybe she thought he had another family or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why she thought he had 2 names.
Took it in stride that he had 2 names. It was very puzzling. And then sends her daughter alone to the Cayman Islands.
Which was wild, too.
Very wild.
We find out later that the reason that the daughter goes by herself is because there was only 1 ticket left on the flight.
That's not what they told us in that first scene. First scene, she's just standing outside the airplane, watching, like, waving goodbye to her. And I was like, did she just send her daughter off so she can try and go save her husband?
That's what it felt like.
Which is what it felt like, but then we find out, like, 2 scenes later, they ran out of seats on the plane, and that's why she sent her there.
And, like, the dad doesn't even know that she's coming, so it's a complete surprise when this little girl shows up in a taxi. And I feel like it's crazy that, like, they let a little kid onto a plane when there's not going to be anybody there to pick her up, and so then they just, like, call a taxi for her, I guess, in the Cayman Islands.
Yeah, who did they build that taxi to?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was bananas. She is 11. She says she's going to be 12 in 6 days. Again, another writing issue.
Did her birthday happen in this movie and nobody thought to wish her a happy birthday?
No, everything in this movie happened in, like, 2 days. This was, like, a 48-hour... Or at least they think it's a 48-hour long movie.
Everybody flew... I mean, like, Miami and the Cayman Islands are probably a really close flight, but...
Probably. But everyone was flying back and forth, getting shot.
To be fair, not that many people are flying forth.
And not as many people, for sure. You're right. But yeah, this is another issue.
But the Blackbeard Festival's happening. There's not flights back and forth.
There must be.
They're all filled.
There must be. Lots of back and forth flights. These writers don't know how little kids talk.
No, this was another similarity for me between this movie and Taken.
Yeah.
Which has a much older child, but somebody else who goes back and forth between, like, in Taken. I know you haven't seen that.
No, I haven't seen it.
I feel like really should have watched it to prepare for this movie.
Yeah.
But that movie has a character who is supposed to be, like, 17, who goes back and forth in age between, like, 8 or 9 and, like, 30.
In behavior
and what she says. And so this was, like, definitely, like, an 11-year-old who goes back and forth between, like, 5 or 6 and, like, 16.
Yeah, she talks half the time like she is, like, 18, and the other half the time is, like, not, like, she doesn't know what death is. You know? Like, it's so strange. Yeah, and then we got like Jackie Earle Haley is in this. Jackie Earle Haley. He's in this film. Again, I didn't like his character. He's supposed to be a criminal, and basically he's
just like kind of a crazy
personality
guy.
is like he dresses crazy and yells and swears a lot. Like that's it. And it's not. He doesn't feel particularly threatening.
Yep. He yells and throws things.
He swears like too much to be scary. Do you know what I mean? Like
is like very frantic.
Yeah. He's just like every other word is fuck, and he just screams at people, and I'm like, he doesn't scare me. It just seems like he's throwing a temper tantrum. Ron Perlman works for him, is maybe like his adopted brother or something. Family?
I don't know.
I wasn't quite sure.
His
on
name
that.
is Bobo, though.
His name's Bobo,
which is a pretty cute name. He was the best character. So the whole thing with Bobo and Sarah, the little girl, was very much the Hound and Arya.
Yes.
Of, like, they're kind of bonding, but there's still, like, a little bit of tension because, you know, he's her captor.
Yeah.
And so she's always, like, kind of trying to get away, but they are very cute together.
They are cute. They have, like, a fun little, you know, back and forth. He teaches her how to bet on dice.
Yep.
He tells her about Othello, because she's reading Othello.
Yeah.
Which is wild. Yeah, I don't think that the writers read Othello either.
Well, I think at the very least Bobo didn't read Othello.
Yeah, he didn't understand Iago. Well, but he knew Iago's lines.
He did.
Yeah, he repeated them. It would have been funny if he got all of his Iago information from Aladdin.
It's just doing, like, Iago from Aladdin's
Yes.
lines.
I would love that.
In Gilbert Gottfried's voice.
Oh my god. So Sarah shows up at her grandpa's house, and it's Nicolas Cage, and like the first couple scenes, he is like very sort of crazy.
He's so weird. Can we
he's
talk
doing,
about
like,
how weird he is when he gets introduced? Because he's like, he's saying "pray tell" a lot.
He's doing like a real eccentric old guy bit. Like, he's sleeping on the beach, and she wakes him up, and he's like, whoa, who are you? What's going on? And he's like, what he had that line that was like, enough about my current electrical current issues. When he's talking about how, like, his refrigerator's not working well. And I'm like, what is this? And
he's too weird in the first two.
He's super weird in the first
scenes.
couple scenes, and then he acts totally normal the rest of the movie.
He kind of balances out later, but the damage is already done for me.
And he just starts in a place that is not paid off in the rest of the film.
No. No, he's too weird for me. And I feel like, I don't know, they needed a little bit more of that Ron Perlman and her energy if I was gonna, like, be rooting for him for the rest of the movie.
Here's the weird thing about this movie, is that from the trailer and from the setup, it seemed like what it was going to be is he has never interacted with his grandchild before. She gets dumped on him. They go on an adventure together and bond. And that's not at all what this movie is, because she gets kidnapped right away. And they don't reunite until the very end of the film.
I feel like they decided that they needed the granddaughter and the grandpa to have bonded, so they shoehorned in that part where she hugs him and tells him that she loves him right after he tells her that he was a bad dad.
Yeah.
Which also felt really weird and unnatural, because that's not a story that afterwards you, like, hug them and you're like, I love you so much. That's like a, like, oh yeah, it sounds like you were kind of a shitty person.
You're like, I'm on my mom's side because I just met you.
Yeah.
It was so strange. It was just, like, very strange writing. He is also, I think, wearing the wig from Season of the Witch.
It very well could be.
It is. It is certainly.
It was less
wig.
well coiffed.
Yeah, it looks like it's spent some time in storage.
It has. Because the Season of the Witch wig had, like, some nice curls in it, you know?
This was supposed to look unkempt, and it did.
Yeah.
It did.
Do you think that's his real beard? Probably, right?
Yeah, I think so. We've seen him with bushy beards before.
I know. It's just, like, pure white in this one.
His chest hair was all white, too.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
almost,
like,
they didn't
we
dye
know
his
that
chest hair.
we know that he dyes his hair. So,
yeah,
I'm sure that he is either white or gray now.
For sure.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to remember what color his beard was in, like, Pig. I feel like it wasn't
in Pig,
as
it was
white.
not as white, but that was 5 years ago.
Right, that's true.
In that one, I remember it was very gray and brown, and because I was like, oh damn, Nicolas Cage looks older. That was one of the first movies that he really looked older in.
Yeah.
And now we've seen it a few times, but like that was the first time. And we know that he dyes his beard in a lot of movies because it's
too
incredibly black.
Too black.
It is boot black.
It's like he's like shoe polishing his beard.
Yeah, so I noticed all the white chest hair, and I was like, oh, he's pretty.
Do you think he dyes his chest hair?
I think he shaves his chest.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
He uses that Halloween spray color on his chest. He just stocks up
I guess
on
I
it.
haven't seen a movie where he like shows his chest in a long time.
That's the thing is like there's movies where he's his shirt's partially unbuttoned, and I don't remember chest hair.
Right.
At least in the recent movies. In old movies, yes.
I'm gonna have to pay attention.
We gotta start a chest hair tracker.
Yep.
Let's start a new tab in the Excel document. Does he have chest hair? Yes or no? What color is it? Remember, doesn't he have like chest hair in the Angels movie?
The Angels movie.
The City of Angels.
That was 30 years ago.
I know, but I was just like trying to remember what his chest hair is like naturally.
Oh, I mean,
I feel like he had a lot.
He's got a lot of chest hair.
Because we were commenting on it.
So I feel like the last thing that he actually shaved his chest hair for was probably like Ghost Rider.
I feel like, well, Dracula in Renfield too.
Was his chest exposed in Renfield? I feel like he had scarves like all the way up.
I thought we saw some of his like upper chest. Don't worry, guys.
This
we'll
is too
find
long
out.
of a conversation.
We're gonna get to the bottom of this.
Chest.
I'm gonna have a folder of just Nicolas Cage chest hair.
I mean, like, it's thick. It comes up pretty high.
I'm gonna have one of those walls, like conspiracy walls, and I'm like, in this one he has 2 buttons undone on his shirt, and in this movie, 1 button.
With, like, yarn just everywhere for some reason.
And it's curly yarn. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Cage is, like, the only thing interesting in this movie, though, other than Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman is the best part.
Is the best part. Fight scenes are great.
I wish there were more.
There should be more.
Because, like, so, like,
yeah,
they set it up as though, so there's a few solid fight scenes in this movie that are pretty fun, but, like I said, there should have been more, because there was a part of the movie where the guy, so there's, like, a mole in the FBI.
Yeah.
Who is like trying.
Sorry, I'm annoyed with the FBI in this movie.
We'll take you through the flowchart of this movie after we get through this part, but
it's in the document behind the chest hair flowchart.
Where he's like trying to warn the head of the mafia about Nicolas Cage's character, and then he's like Rambo, except for like better than Rambo. He could have trained Rambo, and at this point he's killed 4 people, which is not that many people compared to Rambo.
Like he hits. So the first fight scene, which is great and is in the trailer, is he has like outside his little shack on the beach. He has a free weight bench.
I wanted more of that fight scene because it was so funny.
It was so funny. And right before that fight scene, we get our favorite thing, which is Nicolas Cage playing a character who's playing a character.
I do love that.
I know. I was like, there we go. He pretends to be a decrepit old man.
He's like, oh, my back, you just hit 60 and then...
Which is so funny because Ron Perlman always describes him in this movie as being an old man. And I'm like, Ron Perlman, you're older than Nicolas Cage.
You're an old man.
But he pretends to be like these 2 goons, Bobo and some other guy, show up with his daughter looking for the granddaughter, and he pretends to be a decrepit old man and is sitting on his little weight bench outside like he can't stand up, and then takes them by surprise.
Starts yelling in French
for some reason.
To distract them, and then picks up a weight and smacks it across that guy's face.
Yeah. And... yeah, brains that guy, kills him, and then
And then him and Ron Perlman are rolling around in the grass.
Yeah, and his
daughter's got a gun, and she's standing 30 feet away from them instead of just getting closer to shoot Ron Perlman. Instead, she's standing from so far away, just firing wildly.
Yeah, holding the gun out as far as she can, shaking, and shoots her father.
Yeah. Shoots him in the arm, which is fine.
Which is fine for the rest of the film.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, and Ron Perlman...
His arm is fine. He uses both of his arms. He's like, it's just a flesh wound. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. And Ron Perlman runs off, gets in the truck. Unfortunately, that is where the granddaughter is. That's how they end up together for much of the film. But, yeah, so, like, he takes out one guy with a weight, which is, like... cool, but also, like, if I hit someone in the head with a dumbbell, they would die. Like, that's not, like, a crazy move. It's just gravity.
No, you swing a dumbbell and it hits somebody in the face, they're probably gonna die.
Yeah. And then the next one is pretty, like, the next fight scene is pretty cool where he takes out the 3 guys.
Can we talk first about them getting rid of the body of the guy that he hit
that
with the dumbbell?
That is one of the genuinely funny
joke.
scenes, yeah.
Because they're in the boat together and they've got him, like, all wrapped up with the weights so that he'll sink to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
And the daughter stops him and is like, wait, what if somebody finds him? And Nicolas Cage is like, we're above the Cayman Trench, it's like 5 miles down. And she's like, okay, that's fine. And then they drop it and you see, like, the scuba divers going by as the body is sinking down. That was pretty good.
That was good. That was a pretty funny joke. Yeah. I like that one.
Because it's the Cayman Islands. It's a huge vacation.
People are snorkeling everywhere. Yeah. It was, great sight gag. That's when we found out about the hard drive that everyone is trying to get. And they didn't even know. That's when I found out they didn't know it was on the hard drive. I felt insane. Because, I mean, it's like such a prime example of a MacGuffin.
Did we ever truly find out what was on the hard drive?
There was the scene with Ernie Hudson on the boat where
they look it up,
looks it up,
and they're like, "This goes all the way down."
He says it goes all the way. I wasn't paying super close attention at that scene, so I don't know if they actually said it or if they were just like, "This is crazy information, and I can't be a part of it."
Yeah,
it doesn't matter because everyone just kept saying the hard drive.
Yeah,
like it's just such a MacGuffin, and it got to a point at the end that it again. Kind of hilarious because every person would show up and be like, give me the hard drive, and I'm like, I don't know what the hard drive is. So then the hotel fight scene's pretty good. That I like that one. It's well choreographed fight. I wouldn't, if you told me the director was a former like fight scene choreographer or like something like that, I would believe you because that's the strongest part of the movie.
Yeah, they had a lot of, like, good gags and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you remember when they were in the hotel and he, like, rips the rope out of the art on the wall?
So funny.
And then they're using that to dangle the daughter to help her escape, and then he's, like, fighting people, so he's, like, yanking the rope and she's going up and down. That was
just good. Like, the piece of artwork was just like your generic hotel, beach,
aquatic
art.
Rope
So it's
art.
just a coil of white rope. And he just casually takes it out of the frame as if it is just like a coil of rope for a boat or something, as if it wasn't like securely glued down. And then people are just dangling from it. And I'm like, I don't know if that is load-bearing rope. I think that's craft rope.
It also was so long.
It was very long.
Like, much longer than rope in a frame could possibly be.
Yeah, but it gave us another great sort of sight gag when everyone's swinging around on that rope.
That was like sort of Jackie Chan-ish.
Yeah. And we had the bit where he pulled the one guy into the hotel room. That was funny too. Because there's like 3 henchmen who are trying to get in the hotel room and they're like yelling through the door. And so he tells his daughter to open the door. She does. He just snags one of the guys, pulls him in the room, and then they just shut the door and lock it. And then he's just beating the shit out of this guy while the other 2 are like, what do we do? And I like that bit. That was fun. And then they kill the 3 guys and just like run off without the granddaughter, who's like in the next hotel room with Ron Perlman.
I don't know if they knew that they were next door to Ron Perlman.
Maybe they didn't know that. Yeah.
That seemed like it was maybe unknown to them.
Yeah.
And just, like, also, like, a funny little...
shifts in the night thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty fun. But, yeah, we're just sort of, like... Then they go see Ernie Hudson, who I love. I love Ernie Hudson so much.
I'm not clear on who Ernie Hudson is in this movie, aside from being one of Nicolas Cage's buddies.
I believe he used to work with him.
Right.
Because he said, like, he was telling...
But he wasn't an assassin.
No, but I think he was, like, some other sort of field agent or something that worked for the FBI, because he had, like... He was saying, like, when we would go do jobs and stuff like that.
Yeah, but he did have the story about how obviously Nicolas Cage has seen more death than he has.
Yeah.
Because, like, he doesn't react to it at all anymore.
Right, because, like, from what he said, Nicolas Cage was not just, like, an agent. He was the guy that they sent in when everything had gone really bad, and they needed people to be killed and things to be cleaned up. So, and then he sort of is forced to retire, or he just gets disillusioned.
He says he was forced to retire.
Yeah.
It wasn't his choice.
Okay. Yeah. So...
To his granddaughter. He says that a couple of times.
Yeah, he does say that. Okay. So this is when Ashley finds out that her dad is an assassin, after she's seen him kill all these people. I did laugh.
Weirdly for the first time.
Because she, like... He was a bad dad. He wasn't around much because he was obviously traveling a lot for his job killing people. So she just is like, he's, a terrible father, and he did, like, leave her to take care of her dying mother.
And
which sucks.
Just never saw her again.
Yeah, and then just, like, never came back. And we didn't really get... I don't know if we got an explanation for that.
I think he just didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah, like, there was no moment where he was like, I had to leave to, like, keep you guys safe or something like that.
No, it sort of was implied that he was just, like, a piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. This movie's so weird. Because there's no, like, really... I wouldn't even say he has an arc.
Nope.
Because, like, he kills people. That's what he does. So, like, this is the perfect thing for him to be involved with. He's like, I can kill people to help you. But, like, we never see him in any other way take care of or comfort or, he doesn't ever learn to do that. He just keeps, killing people. Which is fun, but as far as character development goes, not great.
No.
I don't know if anyone has character development in this film except Ron Perlman.
Right. Ron Perlman has a moment of hesitation before killing a child.
But he still is going to go through with it seems like. I mean, we don't know if he actually
he was,
would've.
like, chasing her down after she kicks him in the balls.
Yeah. But...
Because she betrayed him. Iago.
Okay. I gotta go on a quick rant about this. Because they're doing the thing that movies love to do, which is there's, like, a piece of classic literature that people keep talking about that obviously has themes that cross over with the movie, right? So they keep talking about Iago and Othello, and I'm like, okay, so this is a movie about betrayal. And I thought he was going to betray Jackie Earle Haley, because in the story, it's not just about betrayal. Iago is Othello's trusted advisor. And so he is purposely advising him to do the wrong thing. And it's a huge betrayal because it's like, I trusted you. You were close to me. We fought together. So, like, it doesn't make... So, when the granddaughter...
I thought they were going to make Ron Perlman the Iago to Jackie Earle Haley's Othello, and then what it seems like they went with was that Sarah, the little girl, was the Iago
for
to the
running
Ron
away
Perlman's
from the
Othello.
guy trying to kill her.
Yeah.
It's like she's running away from him after he tries to kill her and runs to her mom, who, like, shoots him with a harpoon, and he goes, Iago. And I'm like, that's not what it means. That's not right. She didn't betray you. I guess
it would have been a much smarter movie if he had been, like, pulling the strings and double-crossing Jackie Earle Haley.
Yeah.
Because we also have, like, the double-crossing going on within the FBI, and then, like, it really, truly could have been a clusterfuck. But, like...
Yeah, like, I think maybe that's what they also were trying to allude to, is, like, all of the betrayals that are going on with, like, the FBI. But, like, again...
I wasn't invested at all with the FBI stuff. I wasn't invested at all,
and I couldn't keep track of... Because people keep calling people on the phone, and, like... not having these conversations in person or, like, spending time together. They're just calling each other on the phone. And so I'm like,
do you think that was a side effect of this being, like, a COVID movie?
Ooh, maybe.
Where, like, all of these things were happening over the phone, so we didn't ever have actors in the same room with each other?
No, because, like, the FBI scene, that's a full room of people. And then she's on the phone talking to these other people, and then you have
those were like extras though that were in the full room with her.
But they still are people who have to get COVID tested and do all the special, rules and stuff. It's still bodies in the room.
Right.
If you're doing the, like, we're trying to avoid people being
AI
close.
people.
They were all robots.
They were all robots. I mean, like, the rest of the room was a green screen for no reason.
That was so funny. When it was just raining behind her, and it was obviously, like, it looked like
like she was standing in front of a green screen that was like, office raining.
Yes, yeah, like one of those YouTube, like, it's raining on a Tuesday afternoon and jazz is playing. Like, it looked like that. It was so fake. So yeah, I don't know. Part of it, I think, was them just like everyone's calling each other, and I was like, wait, are they betraying each other or are they on the up and up?
Yeah. So here's the part that I feel like I understand the majority of this movie. The one character that really throws a wrench in my understanding of this movie is the politician who is the guy who survives at the end, who was talking to the head of the mafia, Hector, but also was talking to the FBI person, and he killed the FBI person, right?
Yeah, yes.
Like, I have no idea what his role is, and like, he seemed weird to me.
Let me try to explain the hierarchy of this criminal enterprise, if I can. So we've got Jackie Earle Haley, who's in charge of Ron Perlman and all the henchmen. And then above Jackie Earle Haley is Hector, which is a woman. She's a hot woman who's in charge of the mob. Isn't that crazy? So then there's her, and then she is
maybe talking to the politician above that.
Right.
But she also is talking to Fitzgerald or whatever his name is.
She's also talking to Fitzgerald or Fitzsimmons or whatever his name is.
Fitzsimmons or Fitzgerald or whatever. He's with the FBI, but he's double-crossing the FBI.
Yes. Here's the weird thing about their interactions is that I was like, oh, he's a mole for her. He's working for her. But then sometimes he talked to her like she was taking orders from him. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was, like, too aggressive and bossy. Because I was like, she's supposed to be in charge of the whole enterprise. But Fitz, whatever, and the politician guy both talked to her like she was taking orders from them at different points. And so I was like,
I kind of got the feeling that the politician guy was giving orders to Hector.
Yes.
But I still don't understand the politician guy at all.
No.
Like, maybe it's just the message of the movie is like, boy, aren't politicians crooks?
It sure is the message, but still.
But I also just don't understand what happened.
They didn't. If they had established it in a way that was like, here's this politician. Like, I'm trying to think.
Because he was only in 2 scenes.
Yeah.
Really,
right.
like 2, maybe 3.
Because I think at the end, when he shows up and is the one who shoots
the
FBI
person,
it's supposed to be a big...
he doesn't shoot Fitzsimmons. The lady FBI person shoots Fitzsimmons. And then the politician shoots her.
He doesn't shoot her.
Yes, he does.
No. She's fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because at the end, I thought she was a double crosser too, but then she is the one that's like talking to Sarah and is like, "Are you okay? You're gonna be fine." And then she's like talking,
but she does give like the hard drive to the politician.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's supposed to be a shocking twist, but we'd only seen him once, so I was like, "Wait."
It doesn't feel like that shocking of a twist, except
it's not a
because I don't
twist.
Understand anything what's going
on. No, but like the cinematography of the scene made it seem like a reveal.
Right.
And I was like, this can't be a reveal if I don't know who this man is.
Yeah.
It's not a twist. I saw him in a boardroom once. I don't know what he does. I don't know. There's like a bit, I'm trying to remember. I think it's like a Deadpool. Is it in No, it's in one of the Iron Man movies. There's a bit where like you're introduced to like the vice president. And it seems like he's a good guy. And then, like, there's, like, a double-cross scene later that's really shocking because, you've already been introduced to him as, like, a friend of the good guys. And so, like, that's how you have to set it up, to make that work. There's just so many people. I don't know. I don't even know where we're at. They kill Ron Perlman, which sucks.
He gets harpooned by
Ernie Hudson gets shot, but
Ashley, who is trapped in... Yeah, Ernie Hudson goes to the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, she almost drowns.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, my other issue with this movie that I said to you is that the Cayman Islands can be a fun setting for this movie, except they keep going back and forth between the Cayman Islands and Miami, and in this movie, those settings look identical. So, I don't know. I just feel like if you're going to be shooting in two places, make them look a little different. Yeah, so at the end, Ashley and Sarah are being held at the compound, Hector's compound, and
can we talk about them trying to escape from the compound unsuccessfully?
Yes, absolutely.
Because that was pretty funny.
That was so good.
So we have the mom, Nicolas Cage's daughter, being useless some more, where she's like yelling at her daughter for, like, I thought they were handcuffed to the chairs. They were not handcuffed to the chairs. They were able to get up and move around as much as they wanted.
They're not locked in the rooms.
They're by themselves in this gigantic room with lots and lots and lots of windows.
Yeah, and like a balcony.
And a balcony. And then there's like a guard outside of the room down the stairwell.
Yes.
And the door is unlocked. So the little girl gets up and the mom is like, "What are you doing? Get down." And it's like, why?
Why?
You're not locked to the chair.
Right.
And so she peeks her head out the door and sees that there's one guard. And then she goes and sees that there's a balcony. And she's like, "I've got a plan." And they make a noise on the balcony to get the guard to run in. And then he's like looking over the balcony and the mom pushes him over.
Classic.
And the little girl's like, "Is he dead?"
He landed on his neck. He is dead.
And that's one of those parts where it's like, this girl is 11 or 12 years old. I think she planned this man's death.
Yes, she's planned a couple deaths at this point in the film.
And then they leave, and then they go right back for no reason.
Yeah, so we see them sneak out of the room, get down the steps. We cut to Nick Cage, who's out shooting people and killing people. Cut back to them. They run back up to the room because they've seen someone. Again, get the two guys out on the balcony, and this time Nick Cage kills them. And it's just like, it's so, it's not...
It was to no purpose.
To no purpose. And I think that's, like, really indicative of how this movie just, like, cannot build tension.
Yeah.
Like, the way you build tension is, like, you set up what the stakes are, what they're trying to do, and then you're going along with them to try and, like, are they going to get out? Or if they were like, we have to get downstairs, you know, or we have to get outside and help your grandpa. But instead, we just see them, like, Scooby-Doo style, like, running up and down the steps. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. And there's a lot of scenes like that. Or, like, scenes like where there's a scene where Hector, so they can establish what a cold bitch
that
Hector
part with
is.
their accountant.
She's got an accountant who was smuggling money from her, and so she has the accountant's husband killed very dramatically on this boat.
That scene was way too long.
It was too long, and they cut it in a strange spot to go back to, like, the action in the Cayman Islands, and then came back to do the last 2 minutes of the scene. And by that point, it was sort of like, it squandered the tension that it was building in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that is just how this movie went. It was like it would sort of half-heartedly establish some stakes or start a scene, and then it would, like, cut away or just sort of step on its own foot, and it just, like, never really was interesting.
I felt a little bit like those types of cuts. At one point I turned to you and I was like, this feels a little bit like it could be like a made-for-TV movie or something, or honestly like a soap opera, because I feel like soap operas do a lot of cuts.
So many cuts.
For the tension.
Yeah.
And they come back and it's like, oh, we're back to the tension again.
Yeah, but they do a better job.
They do a better job.
I was going to say that we shouldn't slander soap operas.
No.
They're great at building tension.
It's just like they have ridiculous things happening, like, oh, my boyfriend's a vampire.
Yes.
You know?
No, the music swells. Camera closes up on their face.
Yeah.
This movie felt like it, like, you know, your Amazon or Netflix movie of the week. It did not feel like a large release movie.
No.
If there's so many movies that we've already named that do this stuff better, like obviously John Wick is
like
one of them.
Generic soap opera that we haven't actually named. But...
Absolute Days of Our Lives. Incredible. I also think, like, My Spy. Did you ever see that one? The Dave Bautista movie?
No, I don't think so.
It was actually very cute. It was one of those where, like, I was with my family on vacation, and, you know, they're like, well, let's watch this one.
Is
And I
that
was
the
like,
one that was, like, Dave
okay.
Bautista and, like, I want to say, like, Kumail Nanjiani or something like that?
Great question. I don't truly remember who else is in it. But it's, like, one where he is, like, a spy who ends up getting, like, this little girl, this 9-year-old girl,
Okay.
gets involved in his, like, operation, and so he has to learn to, like, you know, sort of take care of her, but also, like, do... And it's, like,
That's
fun and
not
cute.
the one I was thinking of, but that sounds cute.
It's very cute, and it actually was much better than I thought it would be. As
Dave
Christine
Bautista.
Shaw in it.
Dave Bautista is a pretty great actor, actually.
Yeah, and he and the little girl have a great, like, chemistry together. I recommend that one, and I feel like that's what I thought this movie was going to be from the trailer, and it's not that.
No.
Because we don't have any of that actual, like, bonding, you know, with the grandparent or with the, like, killer and the little kid, right? Yeah. Oh, we didn't get to... Okay, so Nicolas Cage comes in, shoots up. Well, he does this thing where he, like, has his car full of grenades hit the gate and blow up, which was pretty good.
Oh, I know what you're going to talk about.
And then, like, he goes, like, blows, like, Chuck Norris style through the whole mansion and is killing people and getting shot and, like, you know, showing up out of the shadows and killing people.
I thought that was what you were going to talk about him. It's him, like, walking sideways, shooting the guys.
Yeah, he does, like, pop up out of nowhere after his car blows up, and he, like, sideways shuffles.
And I remember thinking, like, where did he just come from?
Where did he come from?
How did he get through the gate?
Did he climb over the wall? How? But yeah, he does, like, you know, he blows through and kills all these people, ends up at the pool where Jackie Earle Haley...
Jackie Earle
Haley. What's his name in the movie? Donnie. Where Donnie and Hector are keeping his daughter and granddaughter at gunpoint. And this is where we get the, like, ooh, what you say part. Because, like, because he, like, blows in.
I hope people know what we're talking about
I hope
when
so.
we do that.
You should, like, include
Just
a
watch
link
the
to
OC,
it.
yeah.
In our description for the episode.
Watch the OC and then the
No.
SNL parody of the OC.
Yeah, you gotta watch the SNL parody. But, like, he has, like, a decoy hard drive that he gives Donnie, and Donnie just, like, straight up shoots Hector in the head, which was a shocking moment. I did
the
make
first
a noise.
one was, like,
yeah, I was like,
kinda
oh,
surprising.
that is crazy. And then he gets shot by, oh my god,
someone.
the FBI?
I guess.
I guess
I thought there was another layer, but it might have
there
just
was
been
another
the FBI.
layer of people shooting, but maybe it's just the FBI comes in. The lady?
FBI person kills Fitzsimmons or whatever his name is.
Well, maybe Fitzsimmons shoots Donnie.
Fitzsimmons shoots Donnie.
Fitzsimmons shoots
the
Donnie.
lady shoots Fitzsimmons.
The lady shoots Fitzsimmons.
And then the politician guy
and
comes
the politician
in.
shows up, and I was like, what is happening? I truly thought for a second that the politician was going to shoot her.
Yeah, in my mind that happened.
You actually thought that happened. And then, like, they give the drive to the politician. He gives a speech to Nicolas Cage about, like...
Okay, yeah, here's the other part I didn't understand at all, is why does Nicolas Cage have to, like, disappear at the end rather than... Because, like, nobody's gonna know what happened here.
Right, and, like, they just killed her entire operation, so there's no one left over.
There's nobody
to, like,
left
come
over
after
to
him.
come after him or tell
That's
the
a really
news.
good question.
Or...
Why was it just them being like, we don't want you gumming up the works? Like, get out of here and we won't kill you?
So.
I think that's what it was.
Because he was like, we'll send your daughter and your granddaughter to the Cayman Islands. Here's a boat. You can go to the Cayman Islands in like 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand why he had to disappear and they didn't have to disappear.
Right. Because, like, what we get out of it is that the politician is going to take credit for taking down...
Which is also dumb, because nobody thinks a politician's showing up, like, guns blazing to take down criminals.
What, is he gonna say the police killed them? Or, because they didn't. And, like,
no.
You can't fabricate
That's a much
that.
messier story than...
Right, and you can't... I don't understand what the plan was supposed to be. Like, how is he supposed to take credit for this?
Like, am I supposed to believe... So he's, like, running for governor of Florida, right?
Yeah.
Are they, like, trying to tell me that, like, Ron DeSantis could like, go in with his machine gun
I'm
and
picturing Ron DeSantis
take down a criminal empire.
in his high
Is
heel
that
boots.
is that what they're trying to sell to me? Because
I know, or like Jeb Bush.
yeah, exactly. Because nobody
know.
thinks that that's what happens when politicians say, like, we did it, you know?
Right, no one actually thinks they went in and did it guns blazing. And we also don't know what his job is, like the politician.
He was, like, in a boardroom. I was like, who's
He
this
was like
businessman?
a
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, he didn't even seem to be in a, like, law enforcement or like even, as I said, like a judicial or lawyer role that where it's like, I go after criminals, I'm a prosecutor or something like that.
In which case, still no.
It still doesn't make sense, but like I said, like, that's the kind of shit they do in Batman all the time.
There's no prosecutors in Batman that take everybody down
Harvey
in that
Dent.
way.
Harvey Dent is like, that's his whole thing, is like he's getting elected because he has been hard on crime and he's been pushing to get like
But he's not
criminals
saying
off the street.
that he is personally going out and arresting the criminals either.
No, that's what I agree with you. Like, it still wouldn't make sense, but it makes more sense than whatever this is.
I don't know what this was.
That's what, like,
Yeah.
it doesn't even try to make sense. I don't know. So that's how it ends.
That's
He gets on
the
the
end. He
boat.
gets on the boat and goes off into the sunset.
It was an ending.
Yeah.
Othello.
I think that's all I have to say about that movie.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not really. It's
What?
Not I don't know.
What do you give it?
I don't know. 5 out of 10, maybe.
I was feeling similarly. I
Because
feel
it's like I said, the fight scenes are good, but there's not enough Nicolas Cage in this movie. He's actually not in much of it.
he's not in much of it, and like I said before, he wasn't really doing it for me in this movie that much.
I thought
I liked the part where he pretended to be the old guy so
Yes.
that he could like hit the guy
Yeah.
with the weight.
and like the fight scenes, he did great in the fight scenes, but they weren't
Yeah.
anything like they were typical fight scenes mostly.
Yeah.
Other than like a couple of fun things with like the rope and the free weight. I thought this is my pitch for how this movie could have been better.
Yeah.
Is if the granddaughter gets taken by Donnie, like after, at a certain point in the movie.
And then him and
him,
Bobo team up.
Bobo and Ernie Hudson have to like take his boat back to Miami, and the three of them go after them like Red style.
That would be better.
Like
that would be better.
That would have been a fun, and they could have had this contentious like back and forth, like him and Ron Perlman, where he's like, I don't trust you because you are a bad guy, and Ernie Hudson's over there just wisecracking, being Ernie Hudson.
Yeah.
That would be great.
I would watch that movie. That sounds great.
That's my pitch for how they could have fixed this movie, and we could have cut the FBI agents out. Like, totally.
They were unnecessary.
They were unnecessary, and like, I can't explain. If you haven't seen this movie, I can't explain to you how much the last half of this movie is just the camera showing these two agents in the car together, smirking at each other because they both know the other person is like a traitor.
Yeah.
And they don't know that the other person
like,
knows
I've
that
got
they
it
know.
over on this person.
Yeah, and we know. And so we're just like, okay.
That's fine.
It's not, again, no tension because we're like, yeah.
That feels like one of those, you ever watch things and you're like, all right, this is a movie written by smart people about dumb people, or this is a movie written by dumb people about smart people. This definitely felt like that latter category of this is a movie written by dumb people about smart people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where it's not really working.
No. Yeah, that's definitely I don't know. It felt sort of whatever.
It just felt sort of flat to me as well.
Yeah. So I would say 5 out of 10.
All right, so the critic score for Rotten Tomatoes is 60%, which is technically fresh still.
That's surprising.
And the audience score is 46%.
Yeah, that feels right.
I feel like critics are nervous about giving bad scores to Nicolas Cage movies because sometimes people are like, you're wrong.
Yeah, maybe. I'm surprised that it got a 60%.
This is too high of praise. This person says this Elmore Leonard action crime movie, and Elmore Leonard is way better than this movie.
I do think that at the end they were trying to pull off I
feel like I do agree they were going for that vibe, but it was not it was not
Or
successful.
like a Dashiell Hammett kind of thing, where at the end you're like, oh, there's so much double crossing, but it like makes sense in Dashiell Hammett. Like, it doesn't make sense in this movie. So yeah, I don't know. There's better options out there.
For sure.
That's my takeaway.
I think that my desperate hope is that the next movie that we do is Dream Scenario, which technically came out yesterday as of when we're recording this. I don't know when we're actually going to put this out for people to listen to.
Yeah.
But
who knows?
Who knows? Surprise.
It's a surprise to all of us.
But yeah, hopefully our next one will be Dream Scenario, which I think is going to be an excellent movie.
It's gotten a lot of good.
It's still riding
reviews.
at like 90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I've been trying. I haven't read any reviews, obviously, because I'm trying not to be spoiled. But the headlines that I've seen have been pretty praiseworthy. So
yeah.
I'm excited. It's going to
too.
be weird, and I'm ready to have another weird one. I feel like we haven't done any weird ones in a while.
No, I agree. Yeah, and we still haven't done Butcher's Crossing, which has a higher rating than this movie did.
Oh yeah, we still have to do Butcher's Crossing.
One of these days.
One of these days.
We missed the one theater it was playing in Pittsburgh, as far as I'm aware.
Handshake. Sorry, I'm shaking my fist at this guy.
Yeah, it's a fist shake.
Sorry.
Handshake is like a business transaction.
I'm doing like a jazz hand. Angry jazz hand.
Anyways, it's time for Inside the Cage!
That's good.
That was awesome.
Hey, great news, everyone. The strike is over.
Woo! And I feel like the strike being over is excellent news, obviously, because that means that, you know, we just got done with we still have only seen one of the new Nicolas Cage movies, but that means that there will be more Nicolas Cage movies in the future.
Can you imagine how stir-crazy he's gone?
I think this has been his longest vacation in his whole life.
Yeah, I feel like he's probably busting, like, out of
Although
his
it
house.
kind of seems like he's been filming The Surfer, so I don't know if that was because it's an Australian movie. That's different.
Probably true. It's probably not a struck film.
Right.
So, I guess he didn't. There you go. He was fine.
Yeah, he's been filming The Surfer. I've seen pictures.
That's true. Never mind. He's okay, guys.
Yeah.
Don't worry. But yeah, one of the sticking points, because the WGA strike ended like a month ago, maybe longer.
Yeah.
And the SAG has continued, and one of the sticking points with the contract was the union was trying to get stricter rules around AI, and like the using of actors' image and like their person, you know, without their consent, basically. And the studios were like, they just wanted to scan people's bodies and be able to use them whenever they wanted, which is an insane thing.
And a plot point in BoJack Horseman.
A plot point in the latest season of Black Mirror, too. Really
Makes
great
sense.
episode.
Yeah.
I do recommend, even if you're not like a big Black Mirror person, the first episode, I think, of the newest season is like everyone hates so-and-so, like, I don't know. But it's got Annie Murphy in it. It's got Salma Hayek. And it's about that, basically. Like a Netflix type streaming service, just like using people's image and life to like create content. But anyway, that was one of the things that was sort of the union wouldn't budge on, and so they finally got them to they finally talked them to like a reasonable compromise. And interestingly enough, also recently, Nicolas Cage was talking about his cameo in The Flash, which we've talked about before on here, and he revealed that like that was not what he filmed.
Yeah,
he filmed like
they did some emotion. He was on the set for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Doing
and they were
eyes to convey emotion, no lines.
Yeah, they said like you were watching the universe end. Like that's what you were seeing. And so he acted like his Superman is like watching the world end. And then when he saw the film, you know, like he's fighting this spider and like he like turns around and does this smile and like he's like, that's not what I filmed. So in this interview, he's just talking about how sort of insidious CGI and AI are and how scary he finds them, which I think is fair. I know that like what he did wasn't technically like AI. I think he sort of misunderstands that.
Well, he actually said it wasn't an image generated by AI, but the result of CGI, like digital effects.
But he's pointing to like that's the kind of thing that if they get rights to your
you can just do whatever you want. Yeah.
They can just do whatever they want, and you can show up and see or image doing this like acting that you've never done. And I can understand why that would be absolutely a nightmare.
Kind of unnerving.
It's super unnerving. I find it all unnerving, and I'm not even like an actor with like a public persona.
Right.
So yeah, I'm glad that they stuck to their guns on the AI stuff in the strike, because I think that like that is something that if studios were able to get away with, they would absolutely.
Well, even just look at like, I feel kind of really conflicted and weird about, like, with the Star Wars movies, the way that they've digitally inserted people who have been dead for, like, Carrie Fisher, but also, like, when we had, I can't remember the actor's name, but in Rogue One, the actor that they brought back, who has been dead for, like, decades. Peter something.
Not Vincent. He's
and that's not
legendary horror actor.
That's not AI per se, but it is weird.
It's weird.
And I'm like, you could have figured out a more creative way to do this without like recycling somebody's
There's this really cool
image.
bit.
In not even a convincing way, but like that's not really my issue with it. Is like part of my issue with it is that it looks weird and bad.
Yeah.
But like they could have just recast it. Yeah. Or they could have not used that character and just had it be a different guy.
Yeah. I feel like every time they've done it with the like de-aging or inserting someone in the Star Wars movies, it's always for like a moment, like what's the opposite of a jump scare? A like reveal where someone like turns around or a door opens and the audience is like, oh, it's the guy, right? So they're always doing that, and that's the whole reason they do it.
And I hate it.
I am conflicted about it. I was like, I don't think I'm as harsh as other people were about some of the de-aging stuff with like Luke and like Leia.
Some of the de-aging stuff has gotten better.
It's gotten better, and I don't mind for like a scene in a movie or something, especially if they have actually done the acting and then we're just de-aged, like, but I prefer just like use another actor,
right?
There's this great bit. So the Halloween Ends was not a good movie, but it was either Halloween Ends or Halloween Kills. At the beginning of it, they show a scene from like after the original movie, like they show a flashback scene from like the 70s, and they have this actor, I think he was just like, he was a crew member. He wasn't even really an actor, who played Dr. Loomis. And like, with makeup, he looked so much like him. Like, they didn't do any CGI. It was all practical. And then somebody who did a good impression of his voice, like, dubbed the lines for him. And it looks great. And when I first saw it, I was like, how the hell did they do this? Because, like, you can tell it's not CGI. It doesn't have that uncanny valley bit. And then I was watching this thing afterwards about how they pulled it off. And I was like, do more of that.
Yeah.
Like, when we watch old movies, there's so many times where, like, obviously the younger character is played by a different actor. Or the older character is played by a different actor.
Right.
That's fine.
Billie Lourd is still an actor and looking for work. I'm sure she would play.
She's in those movies. They could just put some makeup on her, and I'm sure they could get her looking enough like her mom that we would be like, great.
People would love that.
Yeah. That's great. So I don't know. I think it's just like it's gone too far. And like people have been comparing CGI shots from like the 2010s or even early 2000s with like now, and they looked so much better back then.
Really weird.
In some movies, right? Like cheap movies, they look really bad. But like on the big budget movies like Pirates of the Caribbean, it looks great because they would spend so much time on it. And now they expect everything to be done with CGI, and they expect it to be done quickly. They expect it to be
really fast.
And they underpay everyone. Yep. And so it looks like shit. Like, the Flash movies, CGI
looks like shit.
Awful. Like, it looks unfinished. And it's just like, and that's because not only are they doing, like, the stuff that can't be done practically, they're also just doing things, like, that you could just shoot practically.
Oh, do you remember in the movie that we just watched, when he shoots the flare gun into that guy's mouth.
It looks so fake. There's a couple explosions that are so obviously CGI. It's very funny to me. That and the CGI rain, I was like, we've gone too far. Like,
just
we don't need it.
We've been doing practical rain effects for the entire time that there have been movies, and it looks great.
Since the, turn of the 20th century.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my rant about AI and CGI, and Nicolas Cage feels the same. In this, we are of agreement.
We're Team Nick.
Yeah, Team Nick, as always. Yeah. So anyway, that's where we are, and so hopefully we'll be coming back with Dream Scenario.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So I mean, Thanksgiving's coming up, so we'll see how that plays into our schedules. But we'll be back with y'all soon.
Yeah,
in your dreams.
Ooh.
All right, stay cagey, folks.
Bye.
Shake and bounce it. Shake and bounce it. Shake and bounce it. Shake and bounce it. Shit. I come here to party tonight. Everybody feeling alright.